Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Southern Discomfort. I am your host with the ghost, the paranormal pastor, Ezekiel Kincaid, and I have Bethany here with me tonight. Up on panel, say hello, Bethany.
Hello, Bethany. Hello, everybody.
So literal. So
Actually,
tonight,
that pretty much sums me up very well.
yeah.
Go ahead. What's on the docket for tonight?
So tonight we are continuing with our study on psychic phenomenon, and we're on part 1 of psychokinesis. So once we kind of get underway, I'm going to give a working definition of that and everything that it entails, and then we will jump right into it. But we're going to wait, like always, for people to hop in chat. I see we got Margie TV, welcome. PW, welcome. Let's see if I missed anybody. I see Dustin is in chat.
Hello, my beautiful PW. I love what you wrote. I'd like to be able to share that tonight.
Yes, we're going to be reading some of PW's stuff tonight.
Hey, Dustin. I hope you guys had fun at the Caldwell house.
And Triple X Lady is in chat as well.
So is Margie, Shannon.
So thank y'all, everybody, for joining us tonight as we continue a very, very interesting subject matter. Well, thank you for that, Shannon. We're happy that you found us and that you were in the chat with us and watching the show. So, yeah, for those of y'all who missed it, Dustin's show last night, I know they talked about the Caldwell house. I was not able to come up last night. I was somewhere else and couldn't get away. And I have yet to be able to go back to watch it. So I cannot wait to go back and watch the show and see how it went. But that is up on the channel, as well as the live stream from the Caldwell house. So you can get on there and watch that as well. And that is available for you.
Yeah, blame me because I haven't been able to watch it either. And I cut my foot really bad last night. And Zeke was pretty worried. Yeah, so my bad. Sorry.
That was an ordeal.
Yeah.
She scared me.
Well, I did pass out from blood loss, and then when I came to, I was embarrassed.
Yeah, so
but I'm okay.
Neither of us slept well last night. That's just
no.
But we are glad to be here tonight. This is definitely the highlight of my week, is being able to do these shows and be here with everybody. Kenneth, hey, see you are in the chat. Welcome, sir. So just a few announcements while we are still waiting for people to hop in, and we'll make these announcements at the end of the show as well. The tickets are up for all of the novice hunts for Octagon Hall in October. Your very own Three's Company plus 1Z, we are going to be leading the novice hunts on the 6th and 7th of October. So Dustin and Vickie and Tanya and me, we're all going to be there. And so you can purchase tickets on the Octagon Hall website for that. But we also have several other teams that we partner with that are going to be leading different novice hunts in the month of October. So if you can't make it for our weekend, there are other weekends available in October for some very quality teams who we can vouch for. So if you can't make it with us, then get on there and pick one of the other weekends with some of the other teams that are going to be leading the charge those weekends. So you got every weekend in October that Octagon Hall is going to be doing these novice hunts. So hopefully that can fit into some of y'all's schedule. And I know first week in October, Bethany, you're going to be there with us, right?
Absolutely, I wouldn't miss it. I wanted to also make sure that I get the Saturday night ticket tonight, too.
Yep, and I'll be bringing Emma along with me as well. So she's going to be there with us again. The other thing, just to remind everybody that for each show during this teaching series on psychic phenomenon, at the end of each show, for those who stay in the chat, if you're in the chat and if you have liked it, the YouTube video, or shared it out, at the end of the show, you're going to be entered into a drawing, and we're going to do a random generator, and the winner of the drawing gets to pick any Southern Comfort issue that I have out. Those of you who aren't familiar, I am a horror author, dark fiction author, whatever you want to call it. And not only do I have this series on YouTube called Southern Discomfort, I also write a series which is on the Godless site. It's an indie horror site, and I do a series for them called Southern Discomfort, and it kind of runs the gamut of dark fiction. There's every type of dark fiction, every type of horror in this series. So the winner for tonight will get to pick the Southern Discomfort issue of their choice, and I will send you the ebook copy of it. And also, at the end of this series on psychic phenomenon, we're going to take all the winners from each week, put them in a drawing, and the winner of that wins the complete body of works of everything that I have written, and every Southern Comfort issue through December. I am looking for the most recent Southern Discomfort cover. I know we've got it in here somewhere, so bear with me. Here it is. This is the most recent issue. It's called Call of the Tetramet. You can get it for only 99 cents on Godless. And if you like kind of Lovecraftian, folk style horror, that's what this month issue is all about. And those of you who are regular listeners know about my Tetramet and Theodosia universe. This is a story that takes place and expands on the mythology a little bit more. So go ahead and check that out. We also have another giveaway that I am doing as well. So this is my latest book, The Adventures of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer. So if you like horror comedy like Army of Darkness, Ash vs. Evil Dead, this is right up your alley. It is downright hilarious. It's full of over-the-top gore and outlandish situations. And you don't have to have read the first one to understand the second one. So the giveaway that I'm doing is anybody who goes to Amazon and purchases either a Kindle version or a paperback version and reads it and leaves a review. If you screenshot your purchase and that you've left a review, all you got to do is send me those screenshots, and then I will send you free ebook copies of everything that I have written. So you buy one book and you get a ton of free stuff for that. So it's all you got to do to win all of my complete body of works is buy a copy of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer Volume 2 on Amazon and leave a review, and I will send you everything to date that I have written. Plus every Southern Discomfort issue through December. Whoops. Let me get back over here and take this down. Am I leaving anything out, Boo Bear?
No.
I think that's it other than this. For those of you who missed the announcement.
Okay, now can we please just for one night get past the freaking clown thing?
Oh, no. No, Dustin is even making some more pictures for you. So for those of you who missed the announcement, Bethany and I's wedding, whenever that takes place, the theme of the wedding is going to be creepy clowns.
No. No.
Oh, yes.
No.
Oh, yes. Right. And this is the chariot that I'm going to drive her away in. Right there. That is her Cinderella chariot. Now, we only have till midnight, Boo Bear, or it turns into something nice. You see, she's so thrilled. She's quiet.
Sore.
I have made her speechless. So.
No, you didn't make me speechless. Thankfully, it cut out, so I didn't hear anything you said. I just saw the eyesore, and then it froze.
Oh, I said we better hurry up because it actually turns into something nice at midnight. Your Cinderella chariot.
Okay, on that one, I'm just stunned. I mean...
What?
What do you mean, what? So, did Dustin find this on a sheriff sale that they confiscated from a meth compound or something, or what?
No. We went bigger than that, baby. We went Craigslist.
Oh, God. That's the worst of the worst of humanity. I mean, that's for, like, drug dealers, serial killers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. So... Oh, I see we got Johnny Small Pepper. Hey, buddy.
And what's on in the background? What, you want to talk about that as we shift away from the RV from hell?
Yes. So each week, just going to start talking about a different horror movie that I would recommend. And this one is I have the VHS copy of The Beast Within. So this one was made in 1982. And if you like something that is a mix of a creature feature and sort of a werewolf movie, this is definitely one that I would recommend. So just going to be doing some horror Halloween movie recommendations each week. And The Beast Within was what I wanted to start with. So you can find that to rent or stream on Amazon, but Zeke gives this one 2 thumbs up for sure. And I know, Bethany, do you remember this one?
When did we watch it?
It's been a while since we watched this one together.
Actually, yeah,
a couple years.
Vaguely, I do remember I liked it.
Yep. And so a lot of my recommendations are probably going to be from B movies or stuff that you may not have heard before, which is the whole point of doing it, to give you something new to watch. So The Beast Within, 1982. 2 thumbs up. Well, Bethany, you got anything else before I get underway?
No. So what exactly are you going to delve into tonight? Okay,
so tonight we are going to look at the topic of psychokinesis. And we're going to be breaking that down over the next 2 weeks. Tonight, I'm going to do what I've been doing for most of the show. Tonight, we're going to be looking at some of the laboratory testing of psychokinesis. I'm going to give you a definition of it. And then next week, we're going to look at some reported phenomenon of psychokinesis. So I'm going to mention something here just to kind of start off, right? When I say the name Stephen King, I mean, Everybody in our culture today knows who that is. Famous horror writer. And he became big in 1974 when he brought the subject of telekinesis to the mainstream of modern culture. I think we all have heard of the book and the movie Carrie. And in Carrie, Stephen King introduces us to a young teenage girl by the name of Carrie White. And Carrie, she doesn't fit in at school with the other kids. She's made fun of. She's bullied. There is just this awful, awful shower scene. Bethany, you know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's seen the movie or read the book, that just really, really breaks your heart when you see what happens to her, what the girls do to her in this shower scene. And so, but that's not even the worst of it. That's just part of Carrie's problem, right? Not only is she being bullied and have all these issues with the girls and people at her school, her home life isn't any better. She has this psychotic, hyper-religious mother who is extremely ultra domineering, and she's got some just totally wild and out there religious beliefs and practices, and she makes Carrie's life at home a literal hell as well. And so in the book and in the movie, Carrie discovers that she has the power to influence matter and influence things with her mind. And as the book and the movie goes on, and as she attempts to fit in at school, as well as doing her best to please her psychotic mother, she finds herself in this really dramatic confrontation with her mother and all of those kids who bullied her. And she is able to really harness her power of telekinesis there at the end of the movie and get revenge. And just the result of it is just disastrous and utter chaos. And so Stephen King, telekinesis is the ability to use your mind to move things. And Stephen King was the one who brought this psychic phenomenon to the forefront in the mid 70s. And since Stephen King, there have also been other people, other movies that have brought this issue or this phenomenon to the mainstream light. Stephen King goes on a little later. I think it was, I think Firestarter, Bethany, correct me if I'm wrong, if you remember, but I think his book Firestarter was written in 1980. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Carrie came first.
Yeah, Carrie came first. I'm pretty sure Firestarter was 1980. Y'all might want to fact check that and don't quote me on it. But it was somewhere around that time period. And Firestarter was a subset of psychokinesis. So when we talk about the word psychokinesis, it's like an overarching broad term to refer to mind-matter interaction. It refers to the ability to have your conscious mind interact with matter. Now, subsets of that would be telekinesis, which would be moving particular objects with your mind. You also have pyrokinesis, like we see in Firestarter, the ability to move and manipulate and start fires with the mind. So different aspects of this have been brought into the mainstream. Another movie that is really, really good, it's more on the drama side, but it's the movie Phenomenon with John Travolta. This gives us a little bit of a more gentle depiction of how someone with the power to influence matter with their mind can actually do good with that gift. Another cool movie that I absolutely love about psychokinesis, if you've never seen It's a kind of like a sci-fi horror. It's a found footage style movie. And if you don't know what I mean by found footage, it's those ones where they video with the camera and they act like it's real. The movie Chronicle. If you've never seen Chronicle, find that movie. It is so cool. Is in the movie Chronicle. It's about 3 high school kids. These 3 friends discover this weird kind of glowing rock under the ground, and exposure to this rock really releases in them this ability to move objects with their mind. And as you can imagine, with young teenagers with a power like this, they begin to use their power in very frivolous and disastrous ways, and like things just get out of hand quickly. And it's a really, really good movie, great ending. So if you can go back and find those movies, find Carrie, the 70s version of Carrie, Firestarter, that movie, the one from the 80s, is with Drew Barrymore. The original Carrie, original Firestarter, way, way better than the remakes they tried to do. And I know Bethany will agree with me on that one, won't you, Boo Bear?
Agree with what? That
the original Carrie and Firestarter are way better than the remakes.
absolutely, but I preferred the book Carrie more so even than the original, what was it, 79 movie or 78?
Oh, yeah. The book, by far, books are more superior than the movies in every way, usually for the most part. I was just talking about, for people who don't really read and want to see the movies, watch the originals first.
Yeah, no, the remakes are not going to cut it. It's actually something that Zeke and I have discussed many times. The problem is that a lot of these books are set in the 70s or late 80s, or no, early 80s. And so bringing it today, it's going to have a totally different feel. And there's topics that are not going to be relevant today that they were back then. So, yeah.
So Carrie, Firestarter, Phenomenon with John Travolta, and Chronicle. Those would be my top 4 recommendation of movies that have to deal with this subject. If you want to go back and watch those, or read the book Carrie, Firestarter by Stephen King. Now, talking about this subject, and I bring up these movies and these books because it's a connecting point for all of us. And when we look at these books and we watch these movies, we're like, yeah, these abilities, they're great for books. They're great for movies. They're great for comic books too. You look at the comic series X-Men. A lot of the X-Men have sort of powers of psychic phenomenon. Watching it and enjoying it in a movie is one thing, but in real life, is there actually any type of evidence of mind-matter interaction? Skeptics say no. Even parapsychologists say you have some of them who are skeptical. Now, granted, everything we've talked about on the show up to this point is, for the most part, believable, right? We've looked at telepathy and precognition, and they really aren't that hard to accept. But moving things with your mind, it's almost like, come on now. Now we're getting into the area of nonsense. So we are going to look at some of the laboratory testing that has been done in the area of psychokinesis to see if there is any basis of this in reality. So just to remind everybody, psychokinesis and telekinesis, the difference is when I use the term psychokinesis, It's more of a broad type of umbrella term, so to speak, that would include all the phenomena like pyrokinesis, psychic healing, retrocausality. And telekinesis is a subset of psychokinesis. So is pyrokinesis. And telekinesis specifically refers to the ability to influence matter with your mind. So today, in modern parapsychology terms, all of these things, all of the words that I just mentioned, they all refer to it now. The common modern term is mind-matter interaction. So if you hear me say psychokinesis or mind-matter interaction, I'm referring to the same thing. So let's start off with just a very simple, but I think a profound question. Can mental intention directly affect the physical world? Can our consciousness interact with matter? To begin to answer this question, we first have to consider this concept of consciousness. We've talked about consciousness a little bit in the past on the show, and especially when we got into the theories of quantum consciousness, and when we did the teaching on quantum consciousness and life after death, we talked a little bit about that. But consciousness is really, really hard to define. It's kind of one of those things that everybody knows what it is, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty and try to define it, it's pretty difficult. And this idea of quantum consciousness is really all the rave right now. There are lots of theoretical physicists that are buying into this quantum immortality. We've talked about that on the show in the past. And so it's all the rage right now, especially in the area of quantum physics. And so scientists are now considering all of these metaphysical answers to some of the things that they had originally turned to the hard sciences in the past, but the hard sciences are not equipped to handle and explain. And so many researchers are doing experiments and coming to conclusions that conscious observation and measurement affect the behavior of quantum particles. Okay, we've talked about that in the past with quantum particles. I'm not going to get too deep into it. We've done it in the shows on the past, and we've talked about how quantum mechanics work, about how light can exist as a particle and a wave at the same time, depending on if it's observed. And when it's observed, it either breaks down into a wave or into a particle. And so this question of observation having effect at the quantum level and determining an outcome has been proven by science. And then when we take that over into the real living realm and in reality, there seems to be some type of evidence of our consciousness and how it interacts determines the outer world. I believe it was so if you go back on the channel and you go through some of the first several shows that we did on Southern Discomfort, that's where we really get into a lot of the quantum physics and consciousness and immortality and all of that stuff. So I break that down a little bit more, not getting into it tonight because that's not the purpose of tonight's show, but I bring that up because it does play into this idea of mind-matter interaction and consciousness. So observation and measurement does somehow affect how particles behave at the quantum level. So since all of reality is made up of this subset of quantum particles, mind-matter interaction with larger objects doesn't really seem that far-fetched. And this was the angle that those who tested this in the laboratory came from, to see if there could be anything observable and tested with this. So that's what we are going to look at right now, some of the laboratory studies in mind-matter interaction. The first thing we need to look at is J.B. Rhine. You've heard me mention him on this show. Started the parapsychology lab at Duke University. He did testings on telepathy, testings on clairvoyance, testing on precognition. He also did testing on mind-matter interaction. So J.B. Rhine was really the father of all of this. And the way that he started with testing this mind-matter interaction was something very simple. So Rhine and several researchers began to investigate whether the fall of dice might be influenced by mental intention. These investigations started around the same time as his others, 1935, and the testing went on for the next half a century. And this experiment is simple, all right? You have a die face is picked beforehand. Then a die or a group of dice is tossed while the person mentally tries to make the face turn up by focusing on the die. So what happens in the testing, right? The tester holds the dice or the die. The one being tested has a number and says, you know, well, I'm going to try to make it turn on this number, or I'm going to try to make it face this number, and then the dice are thrown, and then the results are written down. And if the mental intention matches the face that the die or the dice land on, then that is considered a hit. If more hits are obtained than expected by chance, then this is considered evidence for mind-matter interaction, just like some of the other testing that was done. Now, this was how they started out. And over the years, the experiment was severely, severely criticized many times. So in 1989, psychologist Diane Ferrari, you've heard me mention her before, and Dean Radin, you've heard me mention his name before. His book, The Conscious Universe, which I highly recommend on psychic phenomenon. They did this meta-analysis study. And meta-analysis, if you remember, is when they went back and from 1935 onward, they looked at every single testing that was done on psychokinesis from 1935 to 1987. And in the relevant studies, I'm going to read this in my notes right here so I don't get it wrong. A total of 52 investigations were involved, and a total of 2,569 people had attempted to mentally influence 2.6 million dice thrown in 148 different experiments and 31 controlled studies. 150,000 dice were thrown where no mental influence was applied. Now, a controlled study is where they just throw the dice and with nobody mentally interacting to see what the chance is. So 150,000 dice were thrown in 31 controlled studies where no mental influence was applied. The hit ration for the control studies where no one tried to influence the dice was 50.2%. So this is well within the chance expectation, making the odds against chance 2-1. So they did the control testing to say, okay, 50%, that is our chance ratio right there in this. So anything that goes above that is going to be greater than the odds of chance. In the experimental studies, the hit rate was 51.2%. Now, at first, you're like 50% to 51.2%. Like, that's not a big difference at all. But numerically, when you break that down for odds against chance, the results against chance, when the percentage goes up like that, the odds against chance are around 1 billion to 1. So this is what they found in their studies. Now, the next type of experiment that I want to mention was called the random number generator, or the RNG for short. And it's basically the modern equivalent of the dice studies. And Dean Radin explains it this way. I'm going to give you a quote from him. He says, an RNG is an electronic circuit that creates sequences of heads and tails by repeatedly flipping an electronic coin and recording the results. So the test subject is asked to try and mentally influence the random number generator's output so that it produces a heads rather than a tail. Most RNG testing use numbers. Instead of like heads and tails, they would use a 1 and a 0. And the test subject is asked either to focus on causing the RNG to produce a 1 or focus on the RNG to produce a 0. There's a lot more detail about this and how they did the study and the controls. Dean Radin, in his book, The Conscious Universe, breaks it down really, really good and goes into extreme detail of the different controls and stuff in the testing, much more detail than we're going to get into tonight, just for the sake of time, because we could get bogged down into that. But if you want to know more of the ins and outs of how he did this testing, go ahead and get his book, The Conscious Universe. So after all the random number generators and after all that testing was done with Dean Radin, when they did a meta-analysis of all of the data, the aim was to see if the results would be over a 50% hit rate, thus going beyond chance. So when they did a meta-analysis, they looked from 1959 to 1987, because that was in around 59 when they started introducing the random number generator. And they showed, I'm going to read this out of my notes so that I make sure I'm telling you correctly, a total of 832 studies done by 68 different investigators. These included 597 experimental studies and then 235 controlled studies. The overall result was an odd against chance that was beyond 1 trillion to 1. RNG studies, and again, if you want more information about this, it's in Dean Radin's book. I just want you to know where I'm getting this information from, that I'm not just pulling it out my butt and making it up. These RNG studies have been repeated with the same type of results, odds of over 1 trillion to 1 against chance. Now, obviously, the mind-matter interaction is not up on the grandiose scale of what we see in the movies, of what we see in the books, but there is laboratory testing that it does exist on a smaller scale. Now, what's interesting about this is when we get into the subjects of collective consciousness, when we get into the subject of mind-matter interaction, this does kind of hint at the fact that definitely as human beings, our subconscious can influence reality. Dean Radin has a chapter in his book where he talks about collective consciousness and what that means for mind-matter interaction, and how human beings in our consciousness can connect to nature, because he kind of presents the as all things having some sort of level of consciousness. And whether you agree with it or not, I'm not sure how much I agree with it at this point, but it's fascinating none the least to hear him talk about this and connect some of these dots with the testing and collective consciousness and quantum consciousness. So, but I am convinced from the laboratory testing that there definitely is something to this on a very, very small level. Could it be ever on a larger scale? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about next week. We're going to look next week at some interesting cases of psychokinesis that have been reported and debated over the years. But tonight, I just wanted to give you some of the laboratory testing that has been done to show that, yes, there is actually a basis in reality of there being some sort of evidence of this. I thought this would be a better approach, especially since this is such a controversial subject, because it's easy to dismiss what is called anecdotal evidence, which is stories or eyewitnesses' reports. But it's harder to dismiss laboratory testing that has been done over a span of years since 1935. And even with Dean Radin, modern day, still producing some of these same results with his testing and stuff that was done in the early 2000s and stuff. So I wanted to give you a little bit of that data to show that it has some basis in reality before we actually jump into some of the reported cases of this. And so next week, my goal is just to present you with the stories, and then you can determine whether or not that you believe they are true, because it is very, very controversial. Some people think a lot of these stories have been debunked. Some people do not. So I will present them and lay it at your feet and let you decide what to do with it. Just like I do every week, I'm here to present what I know, and let you take it as it is and then do what you will with it. So I want to open it up and take any questions, or Bethany, if there were any questions I missed in chat, or if you have anything that you want to add to it, baby.
I don't see anybody in chat asking a question. Shannon's going to bed. Good night.
Good night, Shannon.
Hello, Soul Watcher. Crossover.
Hey, Crossover. I didn't see you come in. Sorry.
Foxy Friends. Lady.
Hey, Foxy Friends.
Yeah, no questions.
Okay. Well, that's either really good or really bad.
I think you covered it. I mean, like that's pretty much what everybody was saying, is that you okay, Soul Watcher did have a question. I was late, so maybe this was asked. Is there continued research in this field?
The most updated thing that I could find that I trusted was Dean Radin's book. It's newer, so that would be the book that I point everybody to, Dean Radin's book, The Conscious Universe, if you want some updated studies that is done by somebody who is respected and that is trustworthy. So that's the one, if you're still watching, Dean Radin, The Conscious Universe. I will mention his book every time on the show while we are doing this series. You're going to get sick of me mentioning it. So, okay, you're welcome, Soul Watcher. I'm trying to scroll through, baby, see if I make sure I didn't miss anybody else. Oh, I think we got it. So yeah, we still got a lot of cool stuff coming up in this series. We are going to, from a scientific standpoint, right, kind of what I've been doing, and we're going to continue our study on psychokinesis next week. And then after that, we're going to look at the next topic will be poltergeist. And you may be thinking, why include poltergeist in psychic phenomenon, especially when a lot of people in our community, in the paranormal community, would consider poltergeist something that could be more caused by spirits. And the reason I am doing it here is because for this series, right, I'm approaching it from a parapsychology standpoint. And the common thing today is for parapsychologists to include poltergeist in their phenomenon, because as we will see, a lot of poltergeist activity can be linked to psychic phenomenon. And we're going to talk about that. Actually, poltergeist kind of falls into both realms. It can fall into something that is being done by a spirit, or it can fall into a realm of something that is happening when there is intense emotional trauma or emotional development as well, when psychic energy can be high. So we're going to look at that as well, which should be interesting and fun to talk about. So got a lot of more cool stuff coming up in the next couple weeks.
Okay, and yeah, actually, PW said that there's a community in Florida for psychics where people can go and get readings. Vice did a pretty interesting documentary about that, which I really did enjoy.
Yep. Yes, PW, poltergeist is German for noisy ghost. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, so we're gonna get to that for sure. But speaking of our lovely PW, as I promised, she has an Instagram account where she writes a lot of cool stuff on gods and goddesses and different folklore, mythologies, religion, occult. I mean, it just runs the gamut of what she does. And so I was going to read to you some of PW's work. Bethany, I'm going to let you pick. Should we read her one on Medusa or Marie Antoinette? Which one you want to do? Can you hear me, baby?
Yeah.
Which one? Pick. You want me to read her one on Marie Antoinette or Medusa?
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice. Okay. PW, which one would you like me to read? Or I'm going to pick. Medusa. All right. So this is the picture. PW picked on Medusa. Can y'all see it? That's a pretty cool pic. So here is what PW was able to find and tell us about Medusa. Medusa was a beautiful priestess of the temple of Athena. Medusa always admired Athena since she was young, and she devoted her life and worshipped her. But to be in her temple, she also has to be celibate. Medusa isn't considered a goddess or Olympian, but in her own right, she is a legend. Absolutely. Her race, Gorgon. Those of you who don't know what a Gorgon is, it's the snaky hair, which Hammer Studios has a great movie on the Gorgon. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. Her parents were Phorcys and Ceto. Hope I'm saying that right, PW. Siblings, Hesperides, Scylla, Ladon, Steno, Euryale, and Gray. The way that she died, she was beheaded by a Greek hero named Perseus and died nearby Sistine. Her punishment. Poseidon was obsessed with her, so obsessed with her that he got angry because she kept refusing him. He sexually assaulted her only to be punished by Athena. And then PW adds, Athena was wrong for this, in my opinion. And she transformed Medusa into a horrible snake creature. So the snake creature that we all know her of in mythology. Her symbols are fertility, rage, and protection. Her power, the ability to turn anyone to stone when they look at her. A fun fact about Medusa. Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the movie. Uma Thurman portrayed Medusa. Other legends, Medusa is considered a snake goddess, and snakes are associated with menstruation. Her planet is the moon. Her star, Algol, is the star of ill fortune, represented by Medusa's eyes. This star is associated with the female power and reemergence of feminine divinity. The offering for Medusa is coral. Metaphysical beliefs, Medusa's blood is spiritually and magically powerful substances on the earth. It can destroy or overwhelm you. So, well done, PW. So,
Absolutely well done.
if you want more cool stuff like that, go to her Lady Rose Instagram account and follow her. And she updates it pretty regularly. And she's been doing this. PW, how long have you been doing this? Oh, you're welcome, PW. Dustin said, look at her boobs or butt, not her eyes.
Don't most men.
Oh, Dustin.
Yes, she did. She did write a Marie Antoinette for me. It was lovely.
Yep. Okay, 6 months. So PW started this 6 months ago. So there's 6 months worth of stuff like this for you to go to her Instagram account and read. And she gives you bite-sized snippets of history about all sorts of mythology, religion, occult, like spirituality, paranormal, psychic phenomena stuff. Like I said, it runs the gamut. So there's something on there for everybody. So go follow her if you have an Instagram account on Lady Rose, and you will be able to keep up with all of the updates that she gives. Oh, Dustin. I expect nothing less from my brother. Oh, man. Yeah, PW said yes, and dark history, too. Absolutely, especially Marie Antoinette, which was so sweet that she dedicated that to you, Bethany.
Yes, it was. So she is a dear heart. I adore her so much.
We love our PW.
That we do.
All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to do our drawing for the Southern Discomfort issue for the night. So if you are still in chat and you've liked and shared this out, go ahead and let me know if you want to be entered to win a Southern Discomfort issue. There we got PW. Soul Watcher. Let's see who else is here. All right. Bethany, can you go back through the chat for me and
See who's still with us?
yeah, I see PW, Soul Watcher. Anybody else still in chat that wants to be in here besides PW and Soul Watcher, go ahead and comment. Okay, Dustin's going to look on the Twitter side. We're going to wait and see what he comes back with. But while we are waiting, just want to remind everybody again, tickets for the novice hunts at Octagon Hall for all of October, they are up on the Octagon Hall website. You can go to their Facebook page and like their page and keep up with all of their updates. They have their website on there as well. And we will be leading the novice hunt on the 6th and 7th of October. But if you can't make it that weekend, like I said, they're doing something every weekend for the month of October. And it's all teams that are very quality teams that we trust and we can vouch for. And so you will have a good experience no matter who you go with. So if you can't make it for our weekend and you can make it later in October with some of these other teams, I would encourage you to do that. And just a reminder too, that at the end of this series, we're going to take everybody who won each drawing, enter them into a big drawing, and you will win the full body of my my works. All right, Dustin said Johnny. He always shares us out, so we're going to enter Johnny in there. All right, so I've got PW, Soul Watcher, and Johnny. Anybody else that is still with us that wants to be entered into the drawing for a free Southern Discomfort issue and the chance to win all my stuff? Going once. Dustin, do you know anybody else who was in chat earlier
Yeah, let me go through.
Who shared us out? I don't want to miss anybody. Oh,
I
Art
see
the
some
Clown.
others.
Dustin said add Art the Clown.
Yeah, not funny. Not funny. Oh, come on. No. Okay, all right. Put it away. Put it away.
How about I put it on?
No, please, please.
One day I'm gonna, you know what, for the Halloween show, I'm gonna
I won't
do
be
the
there. No, I know what you're gonna say. No.
show in the Art the Clown mask. How about that?
No. Cops. Shannon.
Okay, Shannon.
They were here.
All right, so he said cops and Shannon. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I will do our Halloween week show on with the Art the Clown mask, and I'll have my little Theodosia right here with me. How about that?
Lovely.
Okay. All right, so I have PW, Soul Watcher, Johnny, Cops, and Shannon. Are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, crossover paranormal. All righty. Well, we are going to go ahead and give the wheel a spin. I've got everybody in there, so you can see that I have entered your name, and we are going to give it a spin. You know, Dustin, if I put Art the Clown in there, watch it, it would be funny. Art would probably win. All right, here we go. Johnny! All right, let's find a way to get in touch with Johnny and let him go to Godless and pick the Southern Discomfort of his choice. And Dustin, just pass along my email to him, or any other way that I can get in touch with him and make sure we get him the link, and I'm going to add him to the list of winners. All right. And Dustin, too, I know Kenneth was in here earlier. Remind him that he won 1 week when we picked 2 winners. All right, so I've got Johnny entered into the list of winners. All right, so also remind everybody that if you want to, you can still get a copy of Johnny Walker Ranger Demon Slayer on Amazon and review it. Send me screenshots, and I will send you my complete works. Make sure I'm not missing anything in chat. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dustin. I see that. So next week, we will be back, and we will wrap up our teaching on psychokinesis. We will look at some of the stories out there about it and kind of let you come to your own conclusion about whether or not they are real. This coming Sunday, for our Sunday Shots show, we are we've started going through the book of Revelation, and I will actually be getting into the text. We will be looking at chapter 1. The last 2 shows for Sunday Shots, if you've missed them, it will be helpful for you to go back and watch them, where I get into the history behind the book of Revelation. It will help as we go on and study the text and some of the things that we are going to talk about. So that will be on Sunday evenings. We're going to be in chapter 1. We've mentioned Octagon Hall. Dustin, Bethany, anything else I need to announce or mention again that I may have forgotten about? Okay, thank you, Dustin. Bethany, can you hear me?
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Nothing? All right. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. That's a good idea, PW. Do a Halloween panel. We'll get Art the Clown on the panel. We'll get Jigsaw. We'll get Pinhead.
And guess who won't be there?
We will get Freddy, and we'll get Michael Myers, Jason. Yeah, we can get them all here.
We'll do that.
We'll get Samara from The Ring. All that black hair hanging down on her face. Oh, speaking of, you know what? Have you ever seen the Grudge movies? Not the American ones, the Japanese ones, Ju-on. You know how that girl makes that?
Yeah.
We need to get her on here and make that sound the whole show.
Actually, all that sound is somebody slowly going over the their finger over a comb.
It sounds cool. Well, good. Well, yeah. What I'll do is I'll get a comb, and I'll just sit there the whole show and do that.
I can do it for you.
Does that sound fun?
No, that can be your whole show. You can just not say anything. Just do that for the whole show.
Well, yeah, I'll just keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, we'll have Art the Clown. Art doesn't really talk much. He's not much of a talker. He just likes to point and laugh at people.
Yeah, but as quoted in one of the movies, he makes an awful lot of sound for someone who doesn't say anything.
Yes, he does. Jason and Michael don't say much. Probably get the most out of Freddy, I would imagine. So, all right, everybody. Stick around. We are going to close the show out with our inspirational video that Dustin has made. We like to play it at the end of the show to always end on a positive note. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everybody, for being in chat. Yeah, CPW said we could get Chucky and Tiffany up here as well. Oh, we can dress Bethany up like Tiffany. Bethany has blonde hair. Bethany, do you want to be Tiffany?
I guess.
We'll set you right next to Art.
On that case, no.
But yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for your input. Thank you for the laughs. Each week, we are so appreciative of everybody who tunes in, everybody in the chat. We love this channel. We love everybody who joins us. We continue to try to cultivate that environment and always bring you quality stuff, quality research, quality investigations, and not faking anything that we do. So thank you so much for your support. And Bethany, you got anything? You want to tell them goodbye before I hit this video?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks for your support, everybody, and just stay safe out there. And, here's the thing. As long as it brings you comfort and peace and joy, and it's not hurting anybody, just enjoy.
Art the Clown brings me comfort and peace and
Okay,
joy.
you know what? Just forget it. I didn't say anything. Just play the music. Thank you for ruining it. When most people say that they hear music when they think of someone they love, with you, it really is the sound of someone slowly letting the air out of a balloon.
I see it as having just a unique perspective to bring to the world.
I know, dear.
So, all right, everybody. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Yep. See you next time, everybody.
Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind? Nowhere to go, so far from home. Is this what giving up feels like? I don't know, I don't know. Tell me, have I lost my mind?